The stars of the NBA, because that's who we're talking about here, have messed the reputation of the game.
Stephen A. Smith is at it again, and this time, he's clowning NBA players who blew their fortunes chasing women. From Allen Iverson's expensive divorce, to Dennis Rodman drained by endless flings, to Jason Caffey's baby mama spree, these are the players getting roasted. Let's begin with Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson, the answer himself, was supposed to be the solution to basketball greatness, but when it came to managing his personal finances and relationships, he became the problem that cost him everything. This Philadelphia legend, who earned over $200 million during his career, found himself filing for bankruptcy in 2012, and the primary culprit wasn't just his legendary strip club spending sprees or his entourage expenses. It was his relationship with women that proved to be his financial kryptonite. The story begins with Tawana Turner, Iverson's high school sweetheart, who became his wife in 2001. What seemed like a fairy tale romance quickly transformed into a financial nightmare that would make even the most hardened NBA executives cringe. The couple had 5 children together: Tiara, Allen II, Isaiah, Messiah, and Dream. But by 2010, the marriage was crumbling faster than Iverson's infamous cornrows in a summer rainstorm. When Tawana filed for divorce, she didn't just want half. She wanted blood, and the legal battle that ensued would make the NBA's toughest playoff series look like a friendly pickup game. The real gut punch came with the post-nuptial agreement that Iverson had signed, essentially a financial death sentence wrapped in legal documents. This agreement stipulated that Iverson would forfeit $32 million if he violated its terms, which he inevitably did through alleged infidelity and other marital violations. While Tawana agreed to accept only half of the settlement, the answer still lost a staggering $16 million in what could only be described as the most expensive mistake of his life. To put this in perspective, that's more money than most NBA players earn in their entire careers, and Iverson lost it faster than he could cross over a defender. But the financial hemorrhaging didn't stop there. The ongoing child support payments for their 5 children became a monthly reminder of his relationship choices, with court documents showing substantial obligations that continued to drain his resources long after his NBA paychecks stopped coming. Legal fees and ongoing child support payments for their 5 children further drained his resources, contributing to his 2012 bankruptcy filing after defaulting on a $900,000 jewelry debt. Iverson's lifestyle during his prime years read like a cautionary tale written in expensive ink. Reports of spending $30,000, $40,000 per night at strip clubs became the stuff of legend, but his relationship-related expenses went far beyond the obvious. His generosity knew no bounds when it came to supporting partners and maintaining appearances. He owned over 10 luxury cars, including a Lamborghini and Bentley, and supported an entourage of up to 50 people, often gifting cars and jewelry to friends, family, and romantic interests. His inability to say no to requests from those around him, including women in his life, became his financial downfall. Stephen A. Smith, never one to shy away from controversial commentary, had a complex relationship with Iverson that would eventually lead to one of the most regrettable moments of his career. As a Philadelphia beat writer covering the Sixers, Smith developed what he described as a brotherly bond with the answer. However, in 2010, when Iverson took a leave of absence from the team to care for his sick daughter, Smith found himself in an impossible position that would test both his journalistic integrity and personal loyalty.
He was away from the team. Supposedly his kid was sick or whatever, but then they saw him partying. And he didn't know any of this.
The controversy erupted when Smith's editor at the Philadelphia Inquirer confronted him with video evidence of Iverson partying while supposedly caring for his family. Smith later revealed the impossible choice he faced: write the critical article or watch someone else destroy Iverson's reputation even more harshly. Smith was forced to write the story about how he wasn't with the team and etc., and he was incredibly hurt. The aftermath of that article created a 2-year rift between the two men that would haunt Smith for years to come. When they finally confronted each other in Atlanta, Iverson's response cut deeper than any crossover ever could.
He said, "Man, I don't care about the article. It's that it came from you."
Smith's reflection on that moment revealed the profound impact of mixing personal relationships with professional obligations, especially when discussing financial and personal struggles tied to romantic relationships. The pain in Iverson's eyes, Smith later admitted, made him realize that some stories, regardless of their truth, carry a cost that extends far beyond journalism. Years later, Smith would defend Iverson against other controversies, including false claims about intoxication, during the infamous practice rant, showing that their bond eventually healed. But the Iverson saga serves as a perfect perfect example of how relationships with women can financially devastate even the most talented athletes, and how the media's coverage of these personal struggles can create lasting damage to all parties involved. The irony wasn't lost on basketball fans that the answer couldn't find a solution to his own financial problems, largely stemming from his romantic entanglements and the lifestyle they necessitated. While Iverson has since stabilized financially through his Reebok deal and business ventures, earning an estimated $800,000 annually with a $32 million trust fund due in 2030, the damage from his relationship-related financial decisions serves as a stark reminder that even the most skilled players can fumble when it comes to matters of the heart and wallet. Speaking of players whose personal relationships led to financial chaos, another NBA legend would prove that even the most eccentric personalities aren't immune to the costly consequences of romantic entanglements. Dennis Rodman, the Worm, was as unpredictable in his personal life as he was dominant on the basketball court. But while his rebounding skills were legendary, his ability to rebound from financial disasters caused by his relationships with women proved to be significantly less impressive. The man who won 5 NBA championships and revolutionized the power forward position found himself entangled in a web of marriages, divorces, and child support obligations that would drain his $27 million career earnings faster than he could snatch rebounds off the rim. Rodman's romantic resume reads like a tabloid editor's dream and a financial advisor's nightmare. His 3 marriages became a masterclass in how not to handle relationships when you're a millionaire athlete. The first marriage to Annie Bakes lasted only 82 days in 1992 to 1993, but those brief months would establish a pattern of relationship chaos that would define the rest of his financial life. His first marriage to Annie Bakes, 1992 to 1993, lasted only 82 days and was marked by allegations of abuse and infidelity, setting the tone for future expensive romantic entanglements. But it was his 9-day Las Vegas spectacle of a marriage to Carmen Electra in 1998 to 1999 that truly showcased Rodman's ability to turn romance into expensive performance art. While the marriage was quickly annulled, legal fees and public drama surrounding their brief union added to his mounting financial pressures. In 1999, both were charged with misdemeanor battery in a domestic disturbance, each posting $2,500 bail, with charges later dropped, adding to legal costs. However, it was his third marriage to Michelle Moyer from 2003 to 2012 that would prove to be his financial knockout punch. This relationship, which produced 2 children, Trinity and DJ, became the source of Rodman's most devastating financial obligations. In 2012, Rodman faced a court hearing for owing $860,376 in back child support and $51,441 in spousal support to Moyer for their 2 children. His lawyers at the time claimed he was completely broke, a statement that would have been laughable during his Bulls championship years, but represented the harsh reality of his post-retirement financial situation. The child support calculations, based on his peak NBA earnings rather than his dramatically reduced post-retirement income, created an unsustainable financial burden. By 2012, court documents indicated he owed nearly $1 million in child support, a debt that became increasingly difficult to manage as his income streams dried up. The relationship with his children, particularly Trinity, remained strained, with her noting in 2021 that she went months, if not years, without contact with her father, suggesting that emotional distance compounded the financial obligations. Rodman's lifestyle during his playing days was as flamboyant as his personality, often influenced by his high-profile relationships. His affair with Madonna in 1994, where he claimed she offered him $20 million to impregnate her, epitomized the intersection of his romantic life and financial decisions. Whether the offer was genuine or not, the relationship contributed to his public image and likely influenced his spending habits as he sought to maintain a lifestyle befitting someone dating one of the world's biggest pop stars. The financial damage extended beyond direct relationship costs. Rodman's trust in others, including women in his personal life, made him vulnerable to financial exploitation. In 2016, his financial advisor, Peggy Ann Fulford, was convicted of stealing $1.24 million from him by writing personal checks and purchasing luxury vehicles, jewelry, and property under his name. Rodman's close relationship with Fulford, whom he thanked as family in his 2011 Hall of Fame speech, blinded him to her fraud. Stephen A. Smith's interactions with Rodman were limited but memorable, particularly a playful 2019 incident on First Take that showcased their personalities without delving into serious financial discussions. When Rodman appeared wearing a Dallas Cowboys jersey specifically to troll Smith, the exchange was lighthearted but revealed the entertainment value both men brought to sports media. Smith reacted with mock outrage, saying, "What in the hell are you wearing? Why are you in our studio in my seat wearing a Dallas Cowboys jersey, Dennis Rodman? Why did you do that?" Smith's mock outrage was met with Rodman's typical irreverence. influence, including a jab about Smith's wealth that highlighted the financial disparities in sports entertainment. While Smith hasn't directly criticized Rodman's relationship-related financial troubles, his general commentary on athletes' financial management and personal responsibilities has certainly applied to cases like Rodman's. Smith's frequent discussions about athletes' obligations to future generations and responsible financial behavior serve as indirect commentary on situations where players like Rodman squandered their earnings through poor personal decisions. Rodman's current situation, with a net worth of $500,000 as of 2025, represents a dramatic fall from his peak earning years. His modest lifestyle, supported by a $200,000 annual NBA pension and various business ventures, including his streetwear line, stands in stark contrast to his earlier mansion-dwelling days. His relationship with Yella Yella since 2023, marked by a face tattoo of her name, suggests he hasn't entirely learned from his past romantic mistakes, though his claim of having no plans for future marriage indicates some level of self-awareness. Jason Caffey, the Alabama native, who earned approximately $34 million during his 8-year NBA career, found himself drowning in financial obligations that would make even the most successful businessman break into a cold sweat. Caffey fathered 10 children with 8 different women, leading to substantial child support payments that became a primary cause of his financial distress. The mathematics alone are staggering. Imagine trying to provide adequate financial support for 10 different children across 8 different households, each with their own needs, educational expenses, healthcare costs, and the countless other financial obligations that come with responsible parenthood. The child support obligations became Caffey's financial kryptonite, with court records revealing the crushing burden he faced. Court records indicate he was obligated to pay $4,250 per month to one woman, LaRonda Brown, in Georgia, with total arrears in one case reaching $112,736, including interest and legal fees. These payments, calculated based on his peak NBA earnings when he was commanding millions per season, became completely unsustainable once his playing career ended and his income dropped to a fraction of his former salary. Caffey's financial collapse culminated in a 2007 Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing in Mobile, Alabama, listing $1.9 million in debts against $1.15 million in assets, with child support obligations being the primary reason for his financial distress. However, the complexity of bankruptcy law meant that this filing didn't provide the relief he desperately needed, as child support debts are typically non-dischargeable, meaning they survive even after bankruptcy proceedings. The root of Caffey's promiscuous behavior and the resulting financial catastrophe can be traced back to his troubled childhood and psychological issues that were never properly addressed during his playing career. In a 2019 Boston Globe interview, he revealed that therapy helped him understand that his need for women and children was maxed by the love I really didn't feel growing up at home. This psychological insight reveals how childhood trauma can manifest in destructive adult behaviors that have devastating financial consequences, especially for high-earning athletes who have the resources to support multiple relationships simultaneously. Caffey's lifestyle during his NBA years was characterized by the kind of spending that seems reasonable when you're earning millions, but becomes impossible to sustain on a normal income. As a young NBA player thrust into wealth, Caffey adopted a rock star lifestyle, spending heavily on luxury items. His bankruptcy filing listed assets including a $175,000 home in Mobile, Alabama, a $34,000 2006 Dodge Charger, and a $14,000 1967 Buick Wildcat, representing the remnants of a once lavish lifestyle that had been funded by his $35 million Warriors contract. Stephen A. Smith's commentary on NBA players' financial irresponsibility and personal accountability, while not specifically targeting Caffey, certainly encompasses the type of decision-making that led to the former Bulls forward's downfall. Smith's frequent emphasis on players thinking beyond their immediate gratification and considering the long-term consequences of their actions resonates particularly strongly when examining cases like Caffey's.
Magic Johnson thought about that. Michael Jordan thought about that. Kobe thought about that. Others have not, especially from this generation of players.
Caffey's current situation represents both the ongoing consequences of his past decisions and his efforts to rebuild his life in a meaningful way. Since 2010, he has served as head coach of the Mobile Bay Hurricanes, an American Basketball Association (ABA) expansion team engaging in community initiatives. His work includes hosting summer basketball camps and mentoring young men through programs designed to help them avoid the mistakes that derailed his own financial future. His efforts to reconnect with his children children and overcome the deadbeat dad stigma show a level of personal growth that extends beyond basketball. He has improved relationships with his 10 children, aged 17 to 26, as of 2019, with 6 attending college, including a son at Alabama and a daughter at Missouri. This success in his children's lives, which he credits to their mothers and his own efforts at redemption, suggests that while his financial mistakes were costly, his commitment to being a positive influence has yielded some meaningful results. The financial numbers tell the complete story of how relationship-related obligations can devastate even a successful NBA career. Caffey's net worth is estimated to be between $1 million and $8 million, a significant drop from his $34 million career earnings due to child support, legal fees, and the bankruptcy that failed to provide lasting relief from his obligations. His current income includes $11,500 monthly from JC Enterprises, real estate, and All Stars Developmental Academy, a daycare center, though much of this goes to child support and alimony. Caffey's story, documented in his book co-authored with Nadine Pierre-Louis, and his ongoing community work, serves as both a cautionary tale and a redemption story. His willingness to share his experiences publicly, including the psychological factors that contributed to his destructive behavior, provides valuable lessons for current and future athletes about the importance of addressing personal issues before they become financial catastrophes. Shan Kemp. Shan Kemp earned the nickname the Rain Man for his thunderous dunks and dominant presence in the paint, but his reign over his own finances came to an abrupt end when the reality of supporting multiple families became more expensive than maintaining a championship-caliber NBA roster. The Seattle Supersonics legend, who earned approximately $91.57 million over his 14-year NBA career, discovered that his prowess on the basketball court couldn't protect him from the financial devastation that comes with fathering children with multiple women and the lavish lifestyle that often accompanies such relationships. Kemp's personal life became a financial minefield that would make even the most experienced NBA general manager break into a cold sweat. Kemp is reported to have fathered at least 7 children with 6 different women, creating a complex web of child support obligations that would haunt him long after his final NBA paycheck was deposited. The mathematics of supporting multiple households are staggering. Imagine trying to maintain 6 different family units with homes, cars, educational expenses multiplied across different relationships in different states with different legal requirements. The child support payments, calculated based on Kemp's peak NBA earnings when he was commanding millions per season, became unsustainable anchors dragging down his financial ship once his playing career ended in 2003. Supporting several families, including expenses for homes, cars, and other necessities, drained his wealth significantly. These obligations were particularly challenging after his NBA earnings ceased, as child support payments are often calculated based on peak career income, not current financial status. Kemp's lifestyle during his NBA prime was as extravagant as his slam dunks were spectacular. His penchant for luxury purchases was part of maintaining his Rain Man persona, but it created a lifestyle that was impossible to maintain once the NBA paychecks stopped flowing. His admission to doing enough drugs to kill a small village during this period highlights how his lifestyle choices, including costly social habits, contributed to his financial and personal decline. As of 2024, Kemp's net worth is estimated at $5 million, a significant drop from his $91.57 million career earnings. This dramatic reduction reflects losses from child support, legal fees, failed investments, and the lavish spending that characterized his playing days. Speaking of players whose multiple relationships created insurmountable financial burdens, another all-star point guard would prove that even superior court vision couldn't help him see the financial disaster approaching. Kenny Anderson. Anderson's relationship troubles began early and often, creating a pattern of financial obligations that would eventually consume his entire fortune. Anderson fathered 7 children with 4 different women, leading to substantial monthly payments, with each relationship adding another layer of financial complexity to his already strained budget. The most financially devastating of these relationships was his marriage to Tommy Roman, a former Real World cast member, whose divorce settlement would prove to be a knockout punch to Anderson's financial stability. The marriage to Roman, which lasted from 1994 to 2001, became a masterclass in how prenuptial agreements can be challenged and destroyed when infidelity enters the picture. Anderson's divorce from Roman involved disputes over a 1994 prenuptial agreement, with Roman challenging it to claim a portion of Anderson's $5.8 million, 1998 salary. Roman's successful challenge of the prenuptial agreement, based on Anderson's infidelity during their marriage, opened the floodgates for a settlement that far exceeded what the original agreement would have provided. The financial hemorrhage hemorrhaging didn't stop with the Roman divorce. Anderson's second marriage to Tamika Lockhart from 2001 to 2004 resulted in additional divorce costs and obligations, while his relationships with other women continued to produce children and corresponding child support payments. During his 1998 divorce from Tammy Roman, he was paying $7,200 monthly in child support to D.D. Roper, DJ Spinderella, for their daughter Christy, and similar obligations for his other children added up to create an unsustainable financial burden. Anderson's lavish lifestyle during his playing days compounded his relationship-related financial problems. He owned 8 luxury cars and lived in a mansion with monthly expenses of $41,000, including $10,000 for personal entertainment. His generosity extended beyond his immediate family, as he supported an entourage and loaned thousands of dollars to friends and family, ignoring advice from attorneys to curb his spending habits. The current reality of Anderson's financial situation serves as a stark reminder of how relationship-related financial obligations can permanently alter an athlete's economic prospects. Anderson's net worth, estimated at $800,000 in 2024, reflects the significant losses from child support, divorces, and past legal issues, a dramatic decline from his $63 million in career earnings. His story, captured in the 2017 documentary Mr. Chibbs, details his rise, fall, and ongoing efforts at recovery, including his work mentoring young athletes about the importance of financial responsibility and healthy relationships. Latrell Spruell. Latrell Spruell was one of the most electrifying shooting guards of the 1990s, a 4-time All-Star who earned approximately $97 million during his NBA career and became synonymous with clutch performances and explosive athleticism. The man who helped lead the New York Knicks to the 1999 NBA Finals and was a key contributor to the Minnesota Timberwolves' 2004 Western Conference Finals run seemed destined for lifelong financial security. Instead, Spruell's story became a cautionary tale of how poor investments, lavish lifestyle choices, and relationship-based financial obligations can transform NBA millions into devastating poverty, ultimately leading to his financial ruin by 2007. The foundation of Spruell's financial collapse was built on a combination of factors that reads like a masterclass in wealth destruction. By 2007, Spruell had filed for bankruptcy despite his massive career earnings, with poor investments and a lavish lifestyle serving as the primary culprits. But the relationship component of his financial downfall adds another layer of complexity to his story. The pressure to maintain multiple households, support family members, and sustain a lifestyle that impressed partners and peers created a financial hemorrhaging that even $97 million couldn't sustain indefinitely. But if Spruell's $97 million career earnings weren't enough to sustain his lifestyle, our next entry involves a player whose financial troubles were compounded by legal issues that made his relationship problems seem almost manageable by comparison. Eric Williams. Eric Williams carved out a respectable 12-year NBA career as a reliable role player and defensive specialist, earning millions throughout stints with teams like the Boston Celtics, Denver Nuggets, and Cleveland Cavaliers. Williams' financial downfall wasn't as spectacular or well-documented as some of the superstars we've profiled, but his story represents the experiences of dozens of NBA journeymen who earned substantial but not astronomical salaries during their careers. The combination of poor investments, lavish spending, and family obligations created a perfect storm that transformed steady NBA paychecks into post-retirement financial struggle. His case demonstrates that financial ruin in the NBA isn't limited to the highest-paid superstars. Even solid role players can find themselves broke within years of retirement when lifestyle choices outpace income. The pressure to maintain appearances during his NBA career likely contributed significantly to Williams' financial troubles. Role players often feel additional pressure to demonstrate their success through material possessions and lifestyle choices, particularly when competing for roster spots and trying to extend their careers. This pressure can be especially acute in relationships, where partners may expect the same level of luxury and financial support that superstar players can provide, creating unrealistic financial obligations for players earning only a few million per year. The family and relationship pressures that many NBA players face were likely magnified for Williams by his position as a role player trying to maximize his earning potential during a limited career window. The pressure to provide for family members, support romantic partners, and maintain relationships while constantly facing the uncertainty of NBA roster decisions creates a psychological stress that often leads to poor financial decision-making. Players may feel compelled to spend money to maintain relationships and family support systems, even when such spending is financially unsustainable. Our next entry involves a player whose all-star status and massive contracts couldn't protect him from the financial devastation that comes with poor relationship choices and lifestyle decisions. Larry Johnson. Larry "Grandmama" Johnson was one of the NBA's most dominant power forwards during the 1990s, a two-time All-Star who earned approximately $83 million during his career, including endorsements with the Charlotte Hornets and New York Knicks. The 1991 Rookie of the Year and 1992 All-Rookie First-Team selections seemed destined for financial security that would last generations, particularly given his lucrative endorsement deals and high-profile marketing campaigns that made him a household name. Instead, Johnson's story became another devastating example of how relationship-based financial obligations and poor money management can transform NBA millions into bankruptcy court proceedings. Johnson declared bankruptcy in 2015, owing over $120,000 in child support. For 5 children with 4 different women, a staggering reality that demonstrates how quickly even massive NBA earnings can be consumed by relationship-based financial obligations. The mathematics of Johnson's situation reads like a financial horror story. Supporting 5 children across 4 different households requires not just monthly support payments, but also separate living expenses, educational costs, healthcare, and the kind of lifestyle maintenance that former NBA families expect to maintain. When you factor in legal fees for paternity disputes, custody arrangements, and ongoing family court proceedings, the financial bleeding becomes unstoppable. But Johnson's financial troubles extended far beyond just child support payments. His extravagant lifestyle during his playing career included the kind of conspicuous consumption that was common among NBA stars of his era, but impossible to maintain post-retirement. The pressure to maintain appearances for multiple partners and families, combined with his own spending on luxury cars, jewelry, and high-end real estate, created a financial treadmill that accelerated beyond his ability to sustain it even with $83 million in career earnings. The legal complexity of Johnson's financial situation highlights how child support obligations can become a nightmare that continues long after bankruptcy proceedings. Child support debts are typically non-dischargeable in bankruptcy, meaning that even after filing for bankruptcy protection, his obligations to the mothers of his 5 children continue to accumulate interest and legal fees. The $120,000 he owed at the time of his bankruptcy filing likely continued to grow even as his ability to pay remained limited. Johnson's current status reflects the long-term consequences of financial decisions made during his playing career, serving as a cautionary tale for current and future NBA players about the importance of financial planning and responsible relationship management. His story demonstrates that even all-star level success and substantial endorsement income cannot protect players from the financial devastation that comes with poor personal decisions. But while Johnson's 5 children with 4 different women created substantial financial obligations, our next entry involves a player whose relationship troubles were compounded by a lifestyle that epitomized the excess and poor decision-making that characterized NBA culture during the 1990s. Glenn Rice. Glenn Rice was one of the most prolific scorers in NBA history, a 3-time All-Star and 1989 NCAA Championship Most Outstanding Player who earned millions throughout his 15-year NBA career with teams including the Miami Heat, Charlotte Hornets, Los Angeles Lakers, and New York Knicks. Rice's financial troubles weren't as extensively documented or publicized as some of the other cases we've examined, but his inclusion among NBA players who went broke after retirement reflects a pattern that has become all too common among professional athletes. The combination of poor investments, lavish spending during his playing career, and the pressure to maintain multiple financial relationships created a perfect storm that transformed steady NBA paychecks into post-retirement financial struggle. The relationship pressures that many NBA players face were likely amplified for Rice by his status as a successful professional athlete with substantial earning potential. The constant attention from women attracted to NBA success, combined with the pressure to provide financial support for family members and romantic partners, creates an environment where poor financial decisions are almost inevitable. Players often find themselves supporting multiple households, paying for expensive gifts and lifestyle maintenance, and dealing with the legal and financial complications that arise from complex personal relationships. The post-retirement transition proved particularly challenging for Rice, as it does for many NBA players who built their identities and lifestyles around their basketball careers. Without the structure, income, and purpose that professional basketball provided, many players struggle to find sustainable post-career opportunities while maintaining the lifestyle and financial obligations they accumulated during their playing days. This transition period is particularly dangerous for players who haven't developed alternative income sources or business skills during their careers. The pattern of financial destruction that affected Rice reflects broader systemic issues within professional sports culture that extend far beyond individual decision-making. The expectation that players should live like millionaires while they're earning millions, combined with limited financial education and planning resources, creates a system that almost inevitably leads to post-retirement financial struggles for many players. That's a wrap, guys. For more of such videos, be sure to click on the card showing on the screen.